Hi Aries, welcome back for your May reading. This is for those of you who are soulmate and twin flames. We're checking into the energy of what's coming through for you guys. Now, all of the astrology aspects, I will do them separately. If you're wanting to make a booking, you can go to the link below. I do videos, Skype, email, and telephone. I do find you tend to get the best out of the session if you are picking a Skype or a telephone reading, because you're able to ask questions during the session. Now, do stay tuned for any of the downloads I get connected to the path, because I do them live. And if you do subscribe, I will answer your questions at the end of each session and during. Now, the overall energy for you guys coming through for the month of May is, and it's at the 9, it's at the 9, it's just before reaching a complete state of coming together. Now, there are some things in a sense of loose ends that you're tying up. You're curious about what that energy is going to look like. Things feel off kilter. It might feel like a very odd vibration. Have a look at the card. You know, sort of like, okay. And look, last month, a lot of what wasn't really connecting in a shape of a puzzle was really coming to a full circle. And these revelations and some things, especially with the Neptunian energy, the delusions of certain aspects, sort of are the things that we're looking at. And I'm hearing there's 3 degrees of separation, and I don't know how that's directly relevant. I'm also feeling that there's an energy of like the moon frequency coming through. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's a white glove, and I did mention this as I was channeling into your energy. It's almost like needing to moonwalk, needing to take something to that next level, needing to connect in with a feminine frequency. It can also be inner child work that you're doing. Really weird messages coming through. But there's, okay, now I'm understanding. There's energies correlating with children. There's energies correlating with your inner child. Some of it can be connected to a karmic frequency of, and I don't know if you can see on the card, there's 4 little dice. So this can be anything to do with gambling, drinking, there's a mushroom, you know, it's with everything surrounding this direct dynamic, the way you're looking at it, it could potentially feel like a gamble. But at the same time, you know, you see the presence of the candy directly over her head, and you're looking at it and you're like, this is a very tempting offer, but I feel as though there's some things that you're really looking at and you're thinking, is there a reason why this person has an interest with me? And both of you are having this direct energy towards each other. It's almost like suspicious minds. Is there something I've missed? Is there something that's not quite being shown to me? It feels very odd, and again, it can be a balance of, for those of you who have come into the communication cycle, those of you who are assessing the dynamic, be it you're together or you're not. However you're working on this, I do feel a lot of reflection and a reflection moving forward regardless. Aries, you're coming to the table really feeling as though, you know, you're knowing your self-worth. And there's a lot, you know, I pull cards several times. And usually when I'm doing a template to feel into the frequency about what feels correct and a way of a spread each month, I get an overall reading coming through prior to even attempting to tune in. But I'm seeing the spread and how it kind of flows energetically and where the story is. And one very heavy story that was coming through for you guys was there has been an issue surrounding, again, and this has been coming up for a while, finances. And again, I'm feeling as though this is more correlating with self-esteem, past tense frequencies, trying to get things back in order, and in order to actually move forward. It's not that you haven't wanted to move forward within this romantic connection. It's very much old residue frequency. And look, both parties will do this in different ways. Some of you will do it where it looks messy, but you're clearing the karmic frequency together, or doing it where you are together, but allowing their frequency to singularly deal with the karmic related frequencies. Others of you will do it very separately and then come about where that is the intention, because intentions set are intentions manifested. You also are feeling as though you have put your back into it, connected to an area in your life very separately to your love interest. This can be your soulmate / twin flame. How you're looking at it, though, this was your accountability frequency. This could be past life related. We did have a lot of energies last month where accountability was coming into play. There was a lot coming at us. A lot of pieces of the puzzle that really weren't fitting. And with the 4 dice, I'm almost feeling between you, you're really curious. You're wanting to know more of what's going on. You're both wanting to communicate your truth of what has been going on between you in your separate life as well as within the connection, and wanting to set your intentions. But I do feel the Aries frequency hadn't wanted to, not from a point of view of not being interested, but keeping their cards close to their chest due to the amount of responsibility they were taking on. Yeah, they're not communicating. They wanted to, and the communication I'm feeling more is at that basis. It's not related to you by any means. It's very much related to a dynamic they have been dealing with in their life for a very long time, and it's a rewiring of that matrix system inside their pain body experience. I do feel they are looking at things very differently, but they're wanting to do it in a different format. And you've got to remember, through an awakening process, masculine or feminine regardless, we do it all very differently. So how we deal with it will be very different. But both energetically are going through an event. That's really weird. Okay. An event in a sense of clearing out that dark matter, clearing out the energy that is really latching you down. Now, with the 0 degree Libran moon, which I do believe was in March, it did then flow on into April, and that was around the 19th. Reaching that point energetically, although it was a full moon, which theoretically is a purge, it has taken approximately a whole month in between both months to bring it to that point. And now it's the clear up of that debris and the movement forward. They're really looking at, their self-worth and manifestation powers, what they're putting their energy into. They, even if a relationship, and I don't feel this is in relation to you, some of the matter could be directly connected, but some of it very much is connected to a past tense scenario. And I feel it's a clear up of that effect. Some of them definitely have left a karmic situation. Now, again, I always mention karmic frequencies all do relate to us energetically, of what we needed to learn in a sense of a lesson and what our belief systems were. A lot of heart chakra activation, so potentially if you're having palpitations and things to that degree, obviously from a medical point of view, I'm not a doctor, do get those things checked. But the clearing of it, there was a very unforgiving situation that they were dealing with. So they may have been very harsh on themselves in relation to this, or the energy around them might have been very harsh where it affected their self-esteem in relation to who they were. They're really liberating themselves. Look at the very stern look on the person's face. It's like, no, okay. And I'm hearing the garden and the gate. Now, this is in another deck. But with the garden surrounding the quadrant, it is feeling as though they did box themselves into a scenario of having a belief system that that's all they were worth. And now that frequency is really changing. Unfortunately, the reality is with that does come fair-based frequencies. So they're really having to face their fair-based frequencies. But, when we hear the term divine timing, look at the hourglass. It's blue, which to me means it's time to communicate. They've got a lot of cogs in their mind, and it's interesting because there's a bee directly next to her, and this is for Aries. Bees correlate with love, but it's also working together as a team, knowing who the king or queen is, being in their own energy within their feminine and masculine, and it's like both sides of the brain is actually activated. I'm also seeing a coil coming through. I'm seeing with this love that they have for you, Oh, this is really weird because the first thing that come through is the mushroom. Okay, there's a mushroom in the card. Can you see it? Now, I don't like to talk about lower frequency things, but what's coming through in a sense of a channel is hallucination. With the bee, there is the smoke coming out of the bee, but it's love and it's sadness in relation to a facade that they believed. And this could have been with another person and even directly correlating with you. And now they're having the shutters taken off. And it's not like they didn't, but because energetically when we are triggered, we tend to then shift our energy onto something to have that sense of avoidance. There's that energy coming through. And now it's completely clear because the cycle has ended. And the way they're perceiving things is very different now. So they're having a harsh reality check, and a lot of this communication is going to come out. Be super careful if you are talking to this individual and try not to take it personally. They were things that were built on faulty foundations, but they're repairing it. Some of you energetically might even be getting jewelry. I am seeing, you know, the stream with, you know, it's almost like a DNA coil with this bee. There is a piece of jewelry coming towards you guys. It was something that they had always intended to give, but now in the 3D they're wishing they really had, and they're bringing this into fruition. They feel it's connected to divine timing. This is the intent moving forward. Now they've got this card in reverse. Now I'll show you upright. Sorry about the glare. They want to communicate with you to help you see their perspective. I'm seeing the eyes with blue, green, and yellow. It's almost like the chakra system through the eyes. But they're wanting you to see it, but they feel that you can't see their perspective, and they're wanting to communicate effectively so that you can visually see, you know, their perspective on things and what they've grown to understand now. I'm also seeing a flower that is, and it's just popped out at me, and it feels like an orchid. Now, I don't know whether they look at you as an orchid or there are orchids around you, and this could be a very important message too with the orchid down below. They also, if there's a location, and this is correlating with that flower growing at a particular home, it might not be something that they wish to do. They want to do something differently, and that'll be an individual message, maybe for only one or two of you. I'm also feeling the crown chakra has been activated with the excess of purple, you know, on the card. Yeah, heart chakra and crown chakra. So head and heart decision, I feel, but even though it's above that, it's like the spiritual connection as well as the heart connection, wanting to bring those to an anchor it into the 3D. A lot of regret is going to be spoken. But this is the beginning stage, I would say. This is what their intent is, that this has to start. You know, it will make you really question a lot of things. It's going to give you some epiphany moments, but at the same time, it's probably going to leave you with more questions. But it's okay, because I do feel energetically they're wanting to actually answer these questions, but it's the first step, so to speak, for healing. You couldn't even imagine this, okay? Counterpart, you guys have your energy coming in, such a curious dream, and it's in reverse. So I'm feeling as though a lot of you, it may unhinge you. It may take you out of left field. You may have imagined something of how it was going to come about, how it was going to be, and then you had to directly detach from that. When it does come in, again, it correlates with a 9. To me, when I see 10, I'm seeing complete connection coming through. It's and I shouldn't really say 9-degree point, because it's not a 9-degree point. It's at the point where it's ending one cycle, starting another. But in order to have that, this communication is moving forward for that to happen. It potentially could make you feel a little bit nervous. You will feel, again, like you're hallucinating, the very Neptunian energy. And it may make you feel like you have to shift. Now, some of you might even speak about moving home. Some of you might not quite feel at home until this can actually be solved and balanced out. So there's a very, I'm feeling it's a surprise, so to speak. But this is really going to push you into, now it's not, I'm feeling you're not in alignment. It more feels as though things are going to line up. It's like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Now I understand why these things happened. Things are just going to make common sense to you. And look at the shock on her face. It's like, is that why that X, Y, and Z happened? It's like really surprised. And I think it'll be in the midst of when you're working or you're doing something with something, and it does come out of left field for you. It's almost like they're going to ask you to do something, but it's something that you're willing to do. I don't feel this, it's like what they want you to be to them, and you're sort of like, what? We've had X amount of things really not mixing, and it's just like that. It really does feel quite quick. It's interesting because the gold is coming up on the crown. Now, I don't know if you can see how shiny it is. It's really shining out at me. It's like almost that manifestation, that chemistry and the way they see you. And you're thinking, hey, I'd imagined what it would be like, but this is beyond my imagination. It is a real wake-up call. And this could have started over last month, but it's really hitting you now, or potentially it was being manifested last month, and then bang, after all the mess, it's sort of feeling as though it's moving forward, and it's quite a shock. You just don't know what to say, but you're closing your mouth because you're impressed by what you're hearing, or just surprised by what you're hearing, but her lips are pucker lips. It's like, wow. You have this card in reverse, okay? This is for counterparts energy, cross watchers. The feeling I'm getting through is you're quite willing to open up and own your part or own yours, but you don't. It's black and it's white. This is where it's got to. Okay, let's just get real. This is black, this is white. Let's just stop avoiding. And there was last month a lot of shades of grey in between, I'm saying. And it's like no more. It's like black, white, left, right, yes, no. That's what I'm hearing. And it's a very stern face, but it's like you're coming to the table and wanting both parties to come to the table very authentically. And there's no cover-up, okay? It could be a very vulnerable state where you do this reflection and you're like, I've been in hangman position, I've been waiting, and now it's coming through. Can't even imagine the stream. You're like, I've been manifesting it, I've been waiting for a long time, and now it's here, and you're stunned. You're like, are you serious? Really? Wanting it to be, not painting the roses red. It is what it is. Okay, the past was what the past was. What do we now do from here? Now, Aries, yours is you're being freed from a cycle. And it's interesting because we deem 2019 as the Phoenix rising, the burn-off effect of the karmic frequency. And you've got this coming through. Again, I'm seeing the blue as a lot of communication, a lot of intuition, following your higher consciousness. Counterparts energy is going to be able to be moved back onto their scarred path, and regardless of whether you have or haven't had communication, this energy is transferring it to actually move your connection forward. The overall outcome is this is going to be done the right way. So set your intentions for this to come about in a correct way. It could mean communication, and again, I'm seeing a crown. It's like, okay, you are you, I am me. Yes, we accept each other for who we are, but let's do this the correct way. Yes, things might have happened in the past, but really setting those intentions, even if you're tuning into your counterpart, set your intentions of what you feel would need to happen. And it's not painting the picture, it's the vibration as such. The hidden gift is within the sadness. What you're going to find is it's actually going to make you stronger. And I am feeling Aries is really feeling this quite heavily. It's like this gracious energy of, wow, you have been with me to hell and back, and I really do appreciate everything that you're giving. They're now knowing that in the past they really didn't have that strong sense of belonging, and no matter what, you have never turned your back on them, and it just feels even if this is a new energy coming in as a soulmate, what they've endured in their past, it really does feel as though they've never had that before. So they're really sensing the presence of appreciation in this. There may be disharmony through the process. And both of you have felt like you, again, have been in the hangman position. And I'm seeing head and heart decisions always. And potentially there was an ego-based frequency going on previously. But there's no more push-pull in a sense of one counterpart wanting more power than the other. You know, really, I'm hearing working together. No more of not working together, but the disharmony is the external at the moment. Let go and, you know, allow everything to fall where it needs to be. One side might have to do a lot of tying up. Some of the situation might have been out of your hand, but I do feel whatever this, so I'm seeing movement. So there could be a movement of house in order for this to take place. Even though you might be going through adversity after this fact, what I am feeling is though, although you might be going, I don't know how this is going to be. Is it going to be okay? Keep your crown chakra activated. Keep your fluids up with the disharmony. Try and have your meditation time. That's what's going to help you come back into this. And it's also, I'm hearing, releasing it. You don't need to worry that it's not going to turn out. It is going to turn out. You know, when we're in an egoic state and we're very scared, which is potentially because there's disharmony during this process, don't get triggered that it can't turn out. It can. There was a quote I heard on a video last month, and it was very much correlating with, you know, just because we look at a relationship and it looks messy doesn't mean to say it's not energetically the right mix. Now, when I say that, I'm meaning don't judge a book by its cover. That's what I'm hearing. Working through adversity, if you're doing it as a team, there will be the hidden gift in it. And you'll be grateful towards each other for working with it. It's going to make the both of you stronger. Even if you are separated and you're dealing with those energies individually, regardless, I'm seeing this person really clearing that cycle and wanting to move forward towards you. The attachment, let go of attachment. But there is a lot. You need to get anchored in. You're wanting to have more time with this person. It can be moving your schedule around. It can be, and that could be the higgledy-piggledy energy coming through. You're like, what? It could be they say, right, we're going right now. We haven't had that honeymoon phase. Let's go and have some time together. It's coming out of left field, whatever it is, but it's moving very fast. Love and light.